Hello and welcome to Melbourne Underground, the music television show that brings you the latest in Melbourne's independent music scene. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Imogen. We've got a huge show this week as we go down to Glenferrie Station to showcase its musical destinations. We'll also introduce you to one of our new journalists, Jamie Salter, as she gives us an insight into Melbourne's street music culture. And we have a live performance and interview from up-and-coming artist Hannah Francis. Let's get underground.
Well, we started Melbourne Underground with a pilot episode and we're already up to episode 3 and we're amazed at the response we've been getting from all of you.
But none of this would be possible if it wasn't for our sponsor, the Deakin University Community Bank. They have generously provided us with the funds necessary to produce the show, so a huge thank you to Bendigo Bank and of course Deakin University. As a student, you can open up an account with Bendigo Bank and receive exclusive offers, so make sure you check out their website for more information.
We now want to introduce you all to one of the many journalists we have working on the show, Jamie Salter, who every now and then will focus on one aspect of the underground scene and present it to you.
This week, Jamie's exploring Melbourne's street music culture as she got a chance to speak with up-and-coming artists.
Hi, I'm Jamie Salter and along with Imogen and Dylan, I'll be reporting on some of Melbourne's most underground music. This week I'll talk to street artists and look at the Locals Matter organisation. Locals Matter is a movement of local street artists and creative thinkers. They seek to inspire and engage local communities in order to promote social impact through the power of music. I attended one of their music writing workshops to speak with the prominent members.
We are new bands, Locals Matter works with street artists, which probably very unknown, We're not a big name, but we will get there. With Locals Matters, the challenge is really build up the workshops, get into the bone of the social problem. Of course, make amazing gigs, make anyone have, fun with the concerts, but with that, it comes the responsibility.
In terms of music in Melbourne, I feel like we are in the best place. You see a lot of festivals in Melbourne, they invest. Takes time, but they invest.
I think Melbourne's very supportive for upcoming artists. Most musicians know they have an outlet in Melbourne because it is such a music-centric city and such an art-centric city. And we do have a lot of venues, we have a lot of artistic programs and a lot of grants. So musicians are really able to find a foothold. And it's something not many places around the world really have a good amount of. Not only is there a great amount of musicians who can create a network, there's also a great amount of people who are willing to put it out there and also listen to it. A lot of people come to Melbourne purely to listen to it. So yeah, it's a really healthy and thriving environment at the moment.
This week, Melbourne Underground had the privilege of interviewing one of these street performers, Sebastian Lugo. Sebastian performed his original song at Station 59, a pub in Richmond. Sebastian is one of thousands of street performers in Melbourne who take to the streets often to perform as a means of living.
Well, it all started a day when I was just really sad after a breakup, and then I played some songs in a party and I was like, wow, this really takes it out. And then I kept playing and expressing myself, and then I just really liked the vibes of it, and then eventually I got my guitar from my brother. He used to use it for busking as well, so I told my brother he used to busk.
It's often hard for street performers to earn money while playing their music, but this doesn't stop these talented musicians. I'm Jamie Salter reporting from Melbourne CBD.
Muchas gracias, thank you.
Well, thanks for that, Jamie. We're stoked to have you on the show and can't wait to see what you explore next in Melbourne. Each week on the show, we invite an artist from the underground music scene. And this week we have Hannah Francis. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
No, thank you for having me.
Now, how did you begin your career as an artist in Melbourne?
Well, it's always been quite a gradual process. So I can't really pinpoint a time, but I definitely started getting into the scene through open mic nights and bar gigs and everything like that.
Okay. So what would you say it's like creating music in the Melbourne scene specifically?
Definitely, well, the Melbourne scene is just known for live music, and they really it's a great platform for those who are wanting to do that and pursue that. And it's quite a competitive place because I remember I did I tried to get a busking permit, and when I received it, you know, they were saying how there were already over 2,000 buskers, let alone in Melbourne. So that was quite a smack in the face, a bit intimidating, but you know, you just have to kind of pursue that. And I think Melbourne is quite an inviting place to be able to perform the music.
Could you describe the style of your music?
Yeah, that's hard to pinpoint as well because I have classical training, so I'm doing a Bachelor of Music at the Conservatorium at Melbourne, and that has also influenced my singing. However, when I play guitar and write music, it's very folk-based, so there's a fusion of those two genres, but you know, I always grew up listening to 70s, 60s music, so that's definitely put an influence on my genre.
Yeah. So you play guitar and you said you were studying, so it sounds like you've got a fair few commitments going on.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot going on.
Okay, that's awesome. So what advice would you give to other up-and-coming musical artists?
Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. You know, you need to use social media as a big platform to engage people, and like I wouldn't be here today if I didn't put myself out there and made a Facebook page. And one other thing is that you shouldn't apologise for wanting to be an artist. Not many people think that, but I certainly did when I was 17, and I had my singing lesson, and my singing teacher came into the room, and I told her that I wanted to be a performer, but I was scared because I thought it would be selfish to be able to want something because you love doing it just for you. And then she just looked at me and said, well, you're doing it because you're actually giving back to people because they're resonating with what you're putting out there, you know, and you need to put yourself out there. So I think that's one thing. So don't apologise for yourself for putting out your music, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there.
I mean, that's a pretty special message.
Oh, 100%.
So you've written a song and you're going to come in here and perform it for us. Could you tell us a bit about it?
Well, the song's called Playing with Fire. And I think we've all heard the expression of don't rock the boat and, you know, all that stuff. And I've put that metaphor and I've just put it on a person, and I've just based it around my emotions during that time of whether or not to pursue something because I was afraid that I could get burnt, you know, metaphor, you know. And so, yeah, and I wrote the song because I had all these thoughts and feelings in my head, and I needed to just lay them out.
Just get it out there?
Yeah, so that's all I did. And like, you know, I'm not a born-bred songwriter. I write down all my feelings, all my emotions, and then from there I was picking out certain things to use. So.
Right, that sounds awesome. So thank you so much today for coming in and giving a bit of insight into your musical journey.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Thanks.
That's all right. Well, before Hannah performs, we'll take a look at the more popular station on the Melbourne train network, Glenferrie. Glenferrie Station is located right in the middle of Swinburne University, opening in 1882. And because of this, it's super convenient for university students to get to their classes. It is also, however, convenient for anyone that's interested in music to come down and check out its local scene, which is what we're doing today. Alley-Tune is designed by Max Labras, who has been kind enough to give us a bit of an insight into his local business.
It's been 11 years we've been doing it, and for a while people were really excited about digital format, being like, it's lighter, it's cheaper, it doesn't take any room. For record stores, it was really, really hard to survive. The digital has been around for a long time now, and people realize that that's not what they like. People like holding something in their hand. So now people can try a lot of music for free, but what they really like, they like to buy it. They like to have it, and they like to collect it.
What do you think of the Melbourne music scene at the moment?
At this moment, the Melbourne music scene is very exciting. There's a lot of young artists that produce a lot of things and release on vinyl. There is a few big underground labels in Melbourne that does really well overseas as well. So now it's a really exciting time to be in Melbourne for music.
Thanks for being here today.
Thank you very much.
Glenferrie, located in the heart of Hawthorn, has a really rich and dense culture for local artists. Anyone that travels to this station will have the chance to experience the underground music it offers. Glenferrie Rd starts at Kew in the north and ends up in Melbourne in the south, and Glenferrie Station stops at its most diverse and busy avenue. As the day comes to a close and the sun sets, it's a great idea to head down to Lido Cinemas to visit their exclusive jazz lounge. The music offered here varies from week to week, but you're no doubt sure to catch some excellent improvisation. I've had a great time at Glenferrie Station. I'll be sure to check it out soon again.
You're watching the third episode of Melbourne Underground, and to catch up on any previous two, make sure you check out our social media where you can find all our content we've covered and extra stories as well.
Music is absolutely thriving in Melbourne, and we're trying to hear as much of it as we can. Next week, we find out how music distribution is managed in Melbourne region, and we head down to Yarraville Station, the gem of western suburbs. We'll also have a live performance from Full Child.
Once again, a huge thank you to our sponsors and the Deakin University Community Bank for providing us with the funds necessary to produce the show. And welcome aboard, Jamie. We now have a live performance from Hannah Francis. We'll see you next week, Underground.
Conversation, that's not enough. Getting too comfortable by the hour. Before you know it, you play with fire, playing with fire, playing with fire, playing with fire, playing with fire. What do you call slow? Now it's confusing. Washing my hair in minds, thinking about losing to the game. Before you know it, you play with fire, playing 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 with fire. Don't get burned. Don't get burned. Playing with fire, playing with fire, playing with fire, playing with fire.
So if you enjoyed my performance of Playing with Fire, I do have a Facebook page that you can like and follow called Hannah Francis, or if you would like to look at my YouTube page, it's under Hannah Murphy.